There is emerging on the face of the earth a new human, an infinite human, and that infinite human is you. Join Elizabeth Monroy weekly for enlightening discussions, multidimensional journeys, profound meditations, and empowering visualizations as we co-create the new consciousness renaissance together with other blossoming infinite human beings who are shifting the old paradigms of our broken, fragmented, finite 3D Earth and alchemizing it into a more expansive, unified, loving, infinite reality by reclaiming their true divine, infinite power within as the co-creators of the new infinite Earth. Join us weekly for the Infinite Human Talk Show, hosted by Elizabeth Monroy, every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time.
Hello, my divine, infinite human beings, your all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And welcome to the Infinite Human Talk Show. This is an epic show. I'm really excited about this. I feel like it's going to be pivotal. It's going to be a real turning point in the lives of those who are attuning to this frequency, and this message is incredibly timely and divine time and incredibly important. And of course, it's important whenever you hear it, but you have to kind of understand energetically right now what's going on. And with the Mother's Day, which was yesterday, I called it the Eternal Mother's Day, there has been such a shift in the energy, and I can feel full force that the divine eternal mother is returning within our hearts. And I'm in pink and flowers and hearts all the time now. I close my eyes and I see pink. I'm in the pink, and the pink is really that divine, nurturing, eternal, unconditional love. And above all, it's self-love. It's self-love. And that is something that's returning to us because that is the key to everything. A really wise old physician, if only the physicians also said that the best medicine is self-love. Of course, that was Dr. Peter Monroy. And it's so true. And I've been just feeling bathed in it. So when you have that, it heals, it cures, it uplifts and upgrades everything. And today we're going to talk about a topic that's kind of been taboo, I think, for women, for spiritual people, for many of us. And the reason is because it has been so co-opted, because it's money. Okay, it's money, money. It's a rich man's world. And money is energy. That's all it is. It's simply energy in the standby mode, but it's energy. And of course, it's been used and abused in a black magic Babylonian system to enslave us, to enslave the masses. It's been only permitted to be used by a sacred few. And I think you know what I'm talking about. I don't really think of them as elite, but I do think of them as the false royals, the false elite, the false usurpers of the true royals, the true magic grail lines, who are the guardians of the planet. And they have used it to take the planet from us and to create structures that are not nurturing to our Mother Earth, that are not productive to humanity. And they invented greed. I mean, greed just doesn't exist in an abundant Earth, and that's how we all lived. We had abundance. There was no such thing as poverty, and this system has created it. So, the topic today is, what if the women, the future of our planet was controlled by trillionaires, women trillionaires, all right? And I just want to tell you a little bit of my story. I mean, maybe some of you have been following on my YouTube channel. Kiki and I have been exploring. I've called it Adventures with Kiki and Infinite Adventures with Kiki. And we've been going around Sicily looking at the ancient Tartarian technology and living the Dolce Vita. And we went to Taormina about 2 weeks ago. And I sat down at Dolce Cabana to have a coffee. And actually, Kiki led me there. Kiki leads me everywhere. And as I'm sitting down and all my, Kiki's got her pink tutu on and I've got all my pink on. And I hear someone say, I live in the 5-star life. And I look over, and there is our next guest, Rose Vitale, who is Sicilian American, and she was there living her five-star life. And I said, "Why don't you come over and join me?" And she sat down and she looked me straight in the eye without wavering, without flickering one iota, and said, I'm going to be the first female trillionaire. Trillionaire, not millionaire, not billionaire, trillionaire. And she said it was just such a unwavering confidence. And the first thing it did was it brought up a lot of my own miasmas, my ancestral miasmas, my beliefs about money. And I started talking about, oh, but spirituality, spiritual. Well, of course, but how else are we going to change the planet if spiritual oriented, nurturing women who are the embodiment of the divine eternal mother of love for self and love for others, do not step in and alchemize and transmute this low frequency currency that has been used to enslave us. And, I know I hear people all the time, oh, the banks are falling, yay, oh, the financial systems are falling, yay. Well, what happens? I mean, like right now, are you ready for that? I mean, what if that piece of plastic or whatever, the phone you use or the cash you have has absolutely no value? We're not ready for that yet, obviously. I mean, we're all in the system, so we have to transmute the system. So I just, was felt such a deep connection with Rose. And so I'm so delighted to have her on. So without further ado, let us bring on Rose Vitale, the founder of the female. Okay, Rose, please tell me about yourself. You could do such a better job. She's got such a powerful voice. Welcome, welcome,
I
welcome,
appreciate
Rose.
that. I mean, wow, what an introduction. So thank you for having me on
Sure,
your
sure.
show. And it was such an honor to have met you at Docha and Cabana Bar overlooking that beautiful view in Taormina. And when I looked over at you, I realized you were living a five-star lifestyle. And I was just taking it all in. I was taking in the energy there. And exactly what I said to you. For me, it's really important not about the capital, but what capital can do and the impact that it will leave on the planet, right? I don't know if your audience knows,
Exactly.
but women receive less than 2% of the venture funding. And my
Well, wait a
vision
minute
by
now. Tell us a
2030.
little bit about you first. Besides the first female trillionaire, you have such an impressive resume. I couldn't even begin. I just Googled you and started to see all the stuff about you, and all the New York Times and the newspapers. So you're the real deal. So it's the Female Founders Institute
Yeah,
that
institute.
you work. Okay, I love
Yeah,
that. Female founders. I like the
yeah,
word founders. Yes. Foundation
yeah.
founders.
I,
Yes.
I Yeah, I wanted to create essentially what the Female Founders Institute is about. It's about education. Women first have to get the education around entrepreneurship, around money, around business. In order to change the flow of capital, we must first get the knowledge. That's why I created the Female Founders Institute, first and foremost.
Yes, and, well, just to kind of talk about really briefly, and then the second part, I wanna get into kind of the blocks that we're having, and this is a two-part show, it's the second part, but, yeah, I have a quote in the description from our book, The Infinite Human, which is, like the Bible, the key to everything, it connects everything, but I write in here that, women, historically, I always say his story, have not, had any of that information because well they haven't even been able to own property because they were property. They had no rights to anything. It always went to the first son. And they didn't even own their own children. They didn't even own their own bodies. It's totally been a one-sided male dominated world, and the only power they had was through manipulation of their sons, of their husbands, of or being good daughters to and married who their fathers wanted them to marry. So they were like collateral. So of course, this is all new to us, you know, of course. It's the system's been completely rigged against us. And a lot of us have like math phobia. I know I did. I used to have panic attacks when I had to take a statistics class. I had to stop my car on my way to get my master's in mental health counseling, get out of the car and breathe because it was like I was going to have to, you know, numbers, you know, and you know, sometimes just when people like, okay, I mean, I've never balanced a checkbook, never ever, you know, I mean, all my finances is totally intuitives, and I think that's a good thing to say because I think we're going to do it our way too. I mean, we need to know the rules so we can break them because we need to do it our way, and you know what? It works. It works for me. It works for me. So, okay, so go ahead.
You're so funny. I didn't realize how funny you were, but you know, you're absolutely right. We have to understand the rules in order to break them or bend them to our will.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we're magnetic. So really this we've got this. It's a piece of cake and there's a reason they've kept us out of the loop because they know as soon as we get in the loop, we don't even have to follow their silly little I call them you know, I speak Italian here. We met in Sicily and in Italian the name is uomo for man and I call them uominini because ini means little and I always talk to the Italian women because they're sometimes I get too caught up that the men know better because it's such a patriarchal society. I say the uominini they have these rules and the rules were meant to, you know, enslave us to screw us. Okay, so once we get in there and we start using our magnetic nature, I mean, all we have to do is magnetize the flow of money. And I do that all the time. Whenever I don't even think about money, but when I need money, there's this one hypnotic tape. I just say, oh, I need some money. I put it on, and it's a river of money is flowing to me. And I see gold and silver and euros and dollars. And the next morning I wake up and there's money in my bank account. And that's how it works for me. So, you
Wow.
know, I think that's why they want to keep us out because once we get in and then we reclaim our power, we will be the trillionaires. So, tell us more about what you're tell us more about you and what you're doing. I loved what you said about the villages in Africa, like when money is given to women, what happens to it as opposed to giving it to the men? Fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a fascinating story. There was a story I was sharing with Elizabeth here in regards to when the government decided to give the money every Friday to the women in Africa because they discovered when they gave it to the men, and by Monday they either were drinking alcohol, hiring hookers, or gambling it away. And so this was true. This is a true story. And the fact is that when we start to empower women for wealth, we start to see the impact that we want to see in the world, right? And I think this is really important that it's not about, you know, buying our next plane or buying our next Ferrari. Although those are nice to drive. I drove one in Terramina. It was a
I
lot of
saw
fun.
that. I
Yeah,
saw
it's a
that.
lot of fun, but it really is to create an impact that has never been seen in history before. You know, I was speaking to actually my spiritual advisor, her name's Elena, and she was telling me as she would start to getting downloads from the universe, she was telling me that, "Rose, this has never been done in history before. Some people will not understand it." Can you imagine? People won't
Yes.
understand it at the very beginning because this has never happened. I mean, how can you know the color of red if you've never seen it? You don't know.
Well, yeah, because now we're rewriting, we're fizzling out the old artificial timelines, and we're not following history anymore. We're writing our story,
We're we're
her
we're,
story.
hey, we're, creating herstory.
Yeah, her
Herstory.
story. And it is going to change the world. I mean, we've talked about it endlessly on this talk show about how women are giving birth to the new earth. Women are the leaders right now, and we are the change. Now, we're all masculine, feminine, we're all electric, magnetic, but our embodiment is much more magnetic. That's what makes us female. So that magnetic property is the power. It's the whole power. And I talked about how we receive the information directly from infinite source, thy will, and then we magnetize it out to the electrical part of
Mm.
ourselves, okay, or our twin soul, or whoever, or the men around us. And that is how it was supposed to be done. And in my, if you listen
Well, you
to
know, it's
my
interesting you're mentioning this though, because the message that I received from the universe is that even though I'm gonna help women in business and change the flow of capital to women, actually, the funny thing is that men are the ones who are helping me through my process. Everybody I'm surrounding myself with, and the ones who are coming to help me most are men. Isn't this the funniest thing?
Yeah, it's
They're
beautiful. It's so
powerful men,
beautiful.
powerful men,
Yes,
powerful men.
yes,
They have to
yes.
be
And I
powerful in order to deal with somebody like me.
and that's amazing. I mean, that is how it needs to be. And I think even Black Rock, keep talking about Black
Yeah,
Rock. And if people
who we're going
don't
right
know Black,
after. We're going right for them. We're going right for them.
okay.
$11 trillion in assets. Can you imagine? 11 trillion. They're the largest asset management company in the world.
Okay, so if people don't know that, we talked about Black Rock as being behind the lithium mines in Asheville, the whole, hurricane in the middle of the, like in the mountains, kind of geoengineered. We know that because they wanted to clear the real estate to get the lithium mines under there. Black Rock, as my broker says, Black Rock has a black eye, and I mean, how do you not invest in it? It owns everything. It owns our planet, Black Rock. The black magic Babylonian system is owned with BlackRock. It's administered through BlackRock. But these are all, and this you might not understand, but we're talking kind of Keylonic science right now. It's on the old timelines, the Fibonacci spiral. They know they're descending. They know that they have to get on the new timeline, and the new timeline is the women. So many of them in these organizations know that they have to. What do you said that they have to get with the new asset? The
Well,
best asset.
I did. I trademarked that women are the new asset class, and it's true.
Okay. Okay, great. Oh yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And but really, if you look at the hidden part of our story, history, it
Yeah.
wasn't always history. It was the women, and I talked a lot about this, how the women, the goddesses, and I'm wearing my goddess today. It's May flowers. The goddesses held our earth magnetically, and electronically in the palms of their hands. And it was their toning, it was, their energy that kept it aligned with the higher dimensions. So we're actually just reclaiming our position. And when we sat down, I said, women are powerful. They are the power source. They just have forgotten. They don't realize it. We have to remember. It's more like remembering it.
That's true.
What's
That is true. I agree with you. But one of the other
yeah.
things that I see, Elizabeth, that is so critical that I really want your audience to remember is that women have to learn how to stick together, though. They have
Beautiful
divided
point.
us. They have divided us. No, we must come together if we're going to change the flow of capital to women. Women, as women, we are our greatest asset, yet our greatest liability.
Okay,
Think
so
about
this
that.
is a huge topic, and I want to take this on next. So, but you know what? Let me just take a really short break, and then when we come back, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna repair that rift. All right. So take a really quick break.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense Radio Show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, Radio show host and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Infinite Human Talk Show. I'm your host, Elizabeth Monroy, and we're having a fascinating conversation with Rosa. I always want to say Rosa Vitale. Rosa Vitale. It's my Sicilian in me. I met in Sicilian, and who's going to be the world's first female trillionaire, I am sure. So, but first, before we get to that, we were just open the can of worms, really, it is about why women, how they broke our sisterhood. Because as I was talking about, we were the goddesses and we held the earth in our hands and we were the guardians. We were responsible for maintaining her in the higher frequencies. And it was such a powerful, powerful sisterhood. And they broke it. They broke it. So how did they break it? And it was, I call it the Tothian curse. And I go into it in great detail in my book, but this book is so amazing. It has everything in it, the infinite human, but it talks about our hidden history and what happened to the female and separating us from our twin souls. But, we have come, and in Sicily it can be the worst, but we've been harnessed with the moon, the lunar harness, and identified as the goddesses of the moon, which we're not, because for the moon, what is the moon? The moon is a reflection of the sun, the male solar. So first, they've taken us out of our solar inner illumination and projected us into something. And by the way, the moon is a false. It's not organic to our Earth. It was brought in for this purpose, and it's magnetic. So what does it do? It affects the female magnetic. It affects, of course, the water, the hormones. My husband was an obstetrician, gynecologist, and when there's a full moon, he's like, "Okay, I'm going to be up all night because all the women deliver." So it's really wreaks havoc on our bodies, lunatic. So that's been the biggest problem. We've had all these lunar overlays. And so that's made us revolve around men. So what does that do with women? Men, our whole existence is around men. So we have to have a man. And so what do? We start competing with one another. We were never meant to compete. Who's the most attractive? Who's the best child bearer? Who's gonna, get the power through the man? So you want to take it? Okay. You want to take that away?
Yeah.
You sound like you get.
Wow. I mean, the way you articulated that, it's so true. They have created this competition that I said that needs to cease to exist if capital will flow to women. We must learn how to collaborate. We must not forget we are our greatest asset, yet our greatest liability. So, ladies, become an asset to each other and quit being a liability. That bullshit needs to stop now.
And we are creators, not just of physical babies, which is fine. I mean, it's beautiful to give birth, it really is, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of it was used just to procreate, to create these lineages, and they're actually fallen angelic Anunnaki lineages, as many of you know, for these, to create a fallen race that was the destroyer of the angelic races. And that's why we were coveted. That's why we were traded like a commodity. That was why we're brought into the royals, like Diane. You see Diane, who was a Christic being with very high genetics, who's brought in as a commodity, as a breeder to bear, the children. There's this pressure, you have to bear an heir, we're so much more than that, so much more. And we're creators of worlds and we co create together. We have this amazing ability. We're portals, not just of life, but of the whole universe. It flows through us. And when we get together in that rhythm and that frequency, there's no stopping us, which is why they've kept us under the thumb for so
Well,
long,
I
because of our.
agree. I agree, and I'm glad you used the Royals because I absolutely love the Royals. I know it sounds so funny for somebody like me to love the Royals, but I cannot wait for the opportunity for to meet Princess Kate. I am looking for I hope I said her name right, or Catherine. I don't know, whatever she wants to be. I've been practicing my curtsy. I gotta meet her. She's part of the
She's dead.
puzzle.
She's dead.
Oh, really?
She's dead. Well, I don't want to go into that because I know you're not familiar, but unfortunately, the royals that you see by this day, and I've been so consumed by that. I want to bring it up just for a minute because all I just watched Marie Antoinette and the czars and all that, and there were some true Christic blood in the royal lineages for many, many years, and that was part of the Tartarian culture, the ancient culture that we talked about that they wiped out. But pretty much now there's hardly any. I think Kate was one of the Christic lines, but she was brought in. You're talking about the wife of the prince,
Yeah.
the Antichrist guy. Yeah. So they brought her in to breed, just like Diane. But when they bring them in to breed, then when they're done their job, that they're gone. And I don't think anyone's seen a current photo of her. We've seen a lot of AI stuff of her, but there's been. So that's what I'm saying. And it's nice you're attracted to her because, yes, she's human. She's human. Anyway, this is a long story. But the royals are coming back, the true royals. And this is very important point, because what are the royals? The royals were usurped. We were the ones, the guardians of the planet, not over humans. Human beings are sovereign. They don't need to be ruled. But we were the guardians of our earth. They came in, they stole our palaces, they stole our castles, they stole our cathedrals, and they dismantled our higher genetics, or they just used us as breeders. But we're coming back. And this is the meek will inherit the earth. You know, the women, the gentle ones, the meek being the gentle ones, we are now coming back into power and we're taking back what's rightfully ours. And this is part of it. I mean, I never thought we should have to buy our Mother Earth in our wildest dreams. But unfortunately, we're in this thing where it's been Mother Earth, an entity, has been cut up, sliced up, and packaged. And okay, yeah, this is a piece of real estate. It's worth blah blah blah. It seems ironic too that the Native Americans, the indigenous people, could not understand that when the white people came over and they said, "Oh, this is ours. We own it." Like, how can you own an entity? How can you own a living creature? But that's why I think we do need to become trillionaires, because we have to take possession of our Mother Earth back, because it's our planet. Why else would the Antichrist Elon Muskrat want to get us to Mars? They want to get us off our planet. So that's one of the first things we have to do with money, because that's what they use right now. So we have to get our planet back, and very strategic, powerful points around the planet that were ours. We need to reclaim them.
Yes.
And I'm talking about
Yes.
the 12 stargates. I'm talking about the ley lines. I'm talking about all that.
Well,
So
part of my
sorry about
vision
Kate.
Yeah, part of the vision for the Female Founders Institute is to have 100 locations worldwide where they become centers for women to collaborate. And what I'm going to be calling them are innovation hubs, but not just technology innovation hubs, coming together as an innovation and collaborator and creators.
And I think that's so important. We both really see on the same page about that, because we need to have physical presence on these energetic
Yes,
ley lines, which is what we had before. All these cathedrals, all these palaces, all these places are built on major ley lines, and the stargates are ours. The stargates are ours. So we need to have those back in our possession. and access to them. You notice when you travel abroad, a lot of these historical temples and sites are like walled off. You can't go up, you can't touch them, you can't be in them. But that's shifting here in Italy. I've noticed even the cathedrals, you used to not be able to go with like uncovered shoulders or short dresses. Now it's like you can go into these cathedrals. I go into them, I tone the crystalline spiral in them, and I feel that we're realigning the energy to the organic timelines, and that's the key. And then once these come back online, people physically being in them, just being in those high frequencies is going to be huge. And that's going to help dissolve all these miasmas of the competition that we're talking about, the low self esteem, the low self worth. And we'll be able to step into our authentic selves and begin to work together physically, eyeball to eyeball with one another. And I love the name that you gave to that, innovative hubs, right?
Yeah, they're going to be innovation hubs, but not what people
Innovation
think.
hubs. Yeah, please speak on. Like,
Yeah.
what can you describe?
So our innovation hubs, what I see is almost kind of like, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to be creating we're going to be creating such innovation hubs where we create. Well, I'm gonna call a little bit of magic in the making in these innovation hubs. There's going to be technologies, innovation that are going to happen in these innovation hubs that are going to be innovated by women, but help to be implemented with men. You see, my innovation hubs, even though it's for the Female Founders Institute and for female founders, I really see where men are going to come and collaborate with, because they're going to realize that women are the new asset class and they're going to want to get in on it, mostly probably for money. But at the end of the day, some people are going to get it in it for the right reasons. And that's going to be important to what we're doing here. Because obviously capital is going to what is what's going to help move the needle, but collaboration, community, commitment is going to really change this in a way. I had a vision about 3 weeks ago before I came to Sicily, and, the vision was the only companies that will exist in the future will be companies that connect their minds and their hearts together. Companies who are just gonna be focused on their minds are gonna cease to exist. Some of the biggest brands in the world, if they fail to connect the heart and mind together, they will cease to exist in the future.
I agree 100%, and I think that's what we're seeing right now, especially with all the AI that they're shoving down our throats, because that's all artificial technology that's only, in your mind, and
Yes.
it's not real. It's not real. It's an illusion. And it's built again on the Fibonacci spiral, the descending false timeline. So it's just we're going to see it just crumbling away like a scab, and the heartfelt, the heart and mind connection, the you know foundation of, I think, one of the deepest. I was listening to another woman, I forget, but she was saying that women long, it's not just money, but I think women really want to make an impact, and we
Yes.
have this.
Yes, but the only way you can make an impact, Elizabeth, is financial. You wanna make an impact? You go and you finance a woman, and I guarantee you, you'll create impact never seen. That's how you create impact.
Well, yeah, and I think women want to do that. I think like
Yes.
as we kind
I mean,
of
look at Jeff
diagnose.
Bezos' ex-wife. Look at Melinda Gates. These people wanna create real impact, you know? I was talking to one of my advisor friends, and I said, "What is it going to take for me to become the first trillionaire woman in history?" And he was giving me the pathway to do it, right? And I was speaking to one of my women advisors, and she's like, "Well, it's impossible, Rose. I mean, you look at Melinda Gates and you look at Mackenzie Scott, who's given away billions." Well, here's the thing: the real side of philanthropy is investing in women, not giving it away. It's investing in women-led companies. That's how you create real impact.
Well, it'd be nice if we had women doing that. I mean, real women, not pretend women. Sorry. It's a
That's
little side
happening.
there.
It's happening. It's happening.
Okay. So, okay, so let me just ask you, what are some of the things that, like some of the women that you're in contact with, do you know some of the things they want to do to impact the world? What can you say some of the missions, the agendas, the visions are
Mhm.
that you've
I'm
noticed?
working with this fabulous company who has created a system. The company's called Code Breakers. And created this system on learning how to sell better. But actually, this goes far beyond how to sell. It's understanding who you're selling to, and that she cracked the code and she calls it BANK. Her methodology she calls BANK, and BANK stands for blueprint, action, nurturing, and knowledge. Now, we all have this within inside ourselves, but depending on how we rank the codes is what matters most to us. And she teaches companies on how to sell based on their bank code. It's a very fascinating technology, and she's using AI, some amazing technologies to get that done faster. AI allows things to process faster, right? And so it teaches really companies on how to sell better, how to communicate better, how to have better relationships. Speaking to your bank code.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I think, and then we'll get into this more in the second part, but I really think, and part of what I wrote about in the book, The Infinite Human, is showing how everything, there it is, in our planet is wrong. We basically build it all on a foundation, and we have to really
Yeah.
flip the script. I love that.
Yes,
I heard you
flip
say
the
that.
script. There you go. Using my line, Elizabeth. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, me, I say it really long, where's my thing back here? I say like rewriting your life story to your heroic self. And of course, she's so American. Flip the script, and I love that. We need to flip the script. And but I think we really need to be our authentic self. And I'm just I'm very honest, so I always say what comes into my mind. But when I hear people, and I think a lot of women are like me when you say sell, 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 sell. I learned how to sell. I've got the key. I cracked the code to sell, 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 sell. And I've listened to some of those videos and stuff. And I listened to another woman, and she said something that really resonated. She said, I used to do that, and it's like, find the problem, give the solution, blah, 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 blah. But, I think it's just, for me, the future of women is we're so honest. Like, I'm so honest. I'm just too honest. I offend people all the time. I don't mean to, but I do. And it's
It
all right. That's
happens.
what I do. But coming from the heart, people know when you're authentic. People know, and like I'm selling this book, like I'm selling but because it's just such a fabulous book. It really, really helps you, and I'm saying that from my heart, okay. And I think when you say it from your heart, when you care about people, and you're doing it like this is the best bread I ever baked. You've got, it's like because women are like that. This is such good bread. Try it. And of course we do because we trust that person, and that person is deserving of your trust because they wouldn't sell it if they didn't believe in it.
Well, I
It's
think,
back to
when you think
ethics.
about this, when you think about this, it's about influence, what you're describing. It's not about selling, it's about influence. Influence
Exactly. It's
comes
because
from,
sales it got a bad
yes,
connotation, I think,
yes.
because there's
Influence
so many
comes from,
classes. The men are out there. The Tony Robbins, we're going to teach you how to sell. Mirror I mean, there's all these techniques and tricks. Well, what you're trying to do is get some money from a person from something that you don't even know if it's really is good for them or not. You don't care. You just want your numbers to go up. And
yeah.
that's not
But you're
women. That's not
absolutely right.
heartfelt.
People have to,
Yeah.
yeah, people have to change the way they influence. Influence comes from trust, right? It comes from trusting that person to tell you, yes, this is the best bread, or yes, this is the best whatever. Everything comes down to trust, you know? But I discovered something, Elizabeth. I discovered something about trust when it came to a company I invested in and I lost money. Okay. I want to talk about this
You
real
told me
brief.
about that. 15 million. And I was upset about
Yeah,
the
it's a true
3 gold
story.
coins
It's
I
a
lost in Mexico. Okay, go ahead.
but it is a true
So
story about the
was
$15 million. And so trust, I
yeah.
discovered, and I trust, and loyalty too goes to trust. But I discovered that trust and loyalty is only tested when it's broken, right? And how do you remain together in order to forge through on the goal? And that's so important. And that's an aspect that really needs to be taught to women. I know it sounds so fundamental. Trust, it sounds simple, but when it's executed, you can create a lot of beautiful things. And when it's broken, it creates a lot of destruction. But how do you stick together when trust has been broken? It's such a fundamental component to business.
Well, we're going to take a short break right now, but when we come back, I want to really actually say we don't have to sell anything if we start to create things that we really need on this planet because we need so much. Everything is inverted, and so all we have to do is create what people need. No selling involved. Okay, we'll be right back, and we'll talk about that.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
And welcome back. I'm Elizabeth Monroy with the Infinite Human Talk Show. I'm interviewing Rose Vitale. And we just got at a very crucial point, I think, in the whole hour. We're going to kind of wind it up right now because we're running out of time. But, I think one of the problems, though, is if you give women $1 trillion and they haven't really totally evolved, and understand how corrupt the planet is, which is what my book was all about, is that they're going to keep repeating the same old mistakes in time loops. And we talked about how important it is to sell. And I said, this planet, they wouldn't even have to worry about selling. The problem is everything that the corporate world, America, has given us is crap. They've given us the bad copy of everything. But if we start getting women that can get their information, their downloads from infinite source, and use their magnetic to activate the electrical in themselves and the men around them, we can start creating things that people need. What people need, we need to get these beautiful Tartarian technology back online, so we all have free energy, so we have a very sophisticated, and that will nobody was going to buy AI artificial crap when you have these incredible palaces that emit healing frequencies resonating, that give you free electricity, that give you teleportation opportunities. That money needs to go to get those back online and develop what the real Tesla was developing. We need to be able to, well, if we can teleport, we can travel, but we need to be able to travel with healthy ways. We need food. Whenever I do my soul missions readings, I did them all over America. First of all, I say, Americans, before you do anything, you need to feed yourself. I mean, I go to these spiritual expos and everyone's talking about this and that. And when you go to eat, because you have to feed, we still eat. We're not breatharians yet. That's what we were before. We're not there yet. But America has no food. It's all artificial food. It's crap. And I'd be doing readings and working with people, and I'm like, I need to eat. And they're like, oh, you can call this, whatever app service where someone buys it for you and brings it to you, and it costs $20 to deliver, and it's crap. It's artificial GMO stuff. I mean, everyone I said, buy some land, plant some food, start a restaurant like we have here in Italy, start things from scratch. Just and it doesn't even have to be a change. You just support your local farmers. The money goes to support them, the local people who are cooking it and selling it and that kind of stuff. I mean, we need to create structures that people live in that don't blow over in 5 minutes. We need to bring back ships that are healthy. You can cruise in them without 5G, travel around the world and get off where you want to. I mean, we need to create freedom. We need to create health. We need to create um, good products, and then you don't have to sell them. People will be lining up to get them. So, what say
Well,
you?
I'll definitely keep all of this in mind when I deploy the capital into a variety of women-led companies. Everything you've shared with me, I'm going to definitely keep these on in the forefront of what we're doing at our investment company.
Yeah, and I would say, well, this we've been talking about this behind the scenes, but I would say the innovation hubs, the focus should be on connecting within to that inner divine voice, getting a clear
Yes.
communication and getting visions. I believe everyone is a piece. We're all unique. We have unique thumbprints, we're like snowflakes. We're all water, but we're all different. And when we come together, we're like a divine puzzle. Each of us is different, but we each come together to create this new foundation of the new earth. So that's what needs to be nourished. That's what needs to be supported in these centers, whatever you call them,
Yeah. Well, with
newer
that, you're
centers, innovation
absolutely right.
hubs.
That's so funny that you mentioned foundation because I keep telling people that the Female Founders Institute is really creating the foundation of what we're
Exactly.
doing for women. I love how you said that. It really connects it and total sense. And
But
that's exactly what
but the
we're doing.
foundation needs to be as women, and what do women do? Women magnetize. They download thy will. Not it's not the ego will. Oh, I want a Ferrari. Oh, I want to,
Yeah.
I want
That's just the
to,
fun part
I
of
want
what we
to.
do on the weekend. The Ferrari is just the
Yeah,
fun
no,
part
I
of
mean,
what
you
we
can have
do.
fun, but I'm saying, that's the thing about a mother. And you said it about the African women. A mother, like here in Italy, I try to explain to the men, a mother who cooks a plate of pasta, she makes sure everybody in the family gets pasta. I mean, that and everything they want, and everyone leaves with a full belly. That's just the feminine at work, and that's how we work with what we do. Money, and whereas the men, So I mean, I'm saying they're all bad, but a lot of times it's just what I want, me, 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 me. I see it all the time here in Sicily. People just putting tables so they get more money and covering up the piazzas so the children don't have places to play and all this stuff. So that's the shift that's going to happen. And we're going to have women that don't say, what can I sell to make a lot of money? They're going to say, what does our planet need right now? What do our children need? What does Mother Earth
Thank you.
need? Okay.
Thank
And when
you.
you do it,
Thank
if
you.
you build
Thank
it,
you, Elizabeth.
they,
Thank you.
and if you
Thank you.
build it, they will come. They will come. No
Amen,
sales.
sister. Preach it from the rooftops there. There's some energy in Sicily. I'm trusting you'll be working on our behalf with your energy. I can feel you. You're a real powerful being. So thank you for the work you do for women. And thank you. I know maybe it's not always easy, but thank you. Thank you for everything you're saying. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. Thank you for the energy and the work you continuously to do endlessly and tirelessly. I understand and I know what that feels like. So thank you for your work.
Actually, actually, that wasn't passed, but you know what? Just recently, I flipped the script, and you know what? I just have fun.
All
I
right.
flipped
That's
the
a
script
good
literally,
girl. That's a good
and
girl.
and
I like it.
and
Flip
that's
that
part of what
script.
I'm doing. I only do what I'm
Let me ask
passionate
you a
about.
question, Elizabeth.
Mm,
What made you go to Sicily? Sicily for me is where my family heritage and
yeah, I
lineage
know
is
that.
from. But why go to Sicily and we meet there? I mean, tell me about why that was so important for you to go to Sicily.
It's
All
in the
right,
book.
I gotta listen to the book. I gotta listen to the book.
No, Yeah, actually, when I came to Castellamare, they did an article on me in the local newspaper in Palermo. Uh, it's a magazine called Gattopardo, and it was called The Return. And they didn't know how big the return was, but I was sent here. I only do things I'm sent to do. Whenever I first get very strong that I have to do something, and I knew I was closing my film school, the new Renaissance Florence International Film School in Florence, Italy, and, I knew something was happening. I knew the timelines were splitting. I knew that the scandemic was coming. I knew I had to leave. Thank God I did. And I didn't know where. And so all of a sudden, if you know anything about Peter, my husband, he wrote the book with me, but he was a Cuban refugee, and he got on a plane just real fast. I make it, and with no money, he had I think a few dollars sewn into his clothing. Escaped Castro because he would have been killed, and he got off at Miami, hid in the bathroom, smoked a Salem cigarette until the plane left, and then came to customs, and they said, "We're going to send you back." He didn't speak a word of English, so he started to cry, and the custom agents took pity on him, called the number. It was a priest. They came up and picked him up, and they put him in one of the first boys camped. And that project was called the Peter Pan Project. It saved over 14,000 clandestini, refuge Cuban boys from wealthy families. He was very wealthy. And so when I came here, whenever I hear Peter Pan or Cuba, I know Peter's talking to me. And right here, and I go there every day. In fact, I just did a little video with Kiki, and I return every year. I rent a little umbrella there. It's called Peter Pan Beach. And right next to Peter Pan Beach is a beach called Elisabetta. So I said, that's where I'm supposed to go. And sure enough, I found my spot, and I've been here for 6 years now. So I go
Wow.
where I'm sent. I just
Wow.
download
I
where I'm
love it.
supposed to go, and I
I
read the
love it.
signs and symbols. So, and that's the way women work, really. That's the way we work as children. We've always worked that way. That's how we survived. Anyone that's alive today knows how to do that, because you would not be alive today if you didn't know how to read energy, signs, and symbols, because your whole survival depended on those nonverbal communications with the people who were taking care of you. So, and it's that inner child that's so important to heal, because we've been taught to stuff it away, to not listen to it. And that's what got us where we are. So today, me and Kiki go out and we play, and I have my inner child loves it. And that's part of the way I do the grid work, my work now. I communicate with people that way, and I just have fun. I just enjoy life now. So,
Well,
okay.
thank
So tell us how we can get in touch with you, because we're almost out of time here.
Yeah, absolutely. They can visit one of my websites, the femalefoundersinstitute.org. There they can learn about what we're doing, and I'm looking to have my first location opened in San Francisco. So we've identified a location. Then I'm going to hit Detroit, because I'm originally from Detroit. When my family came from Sicily, they ended up working for Ford Motor Company. So I'm going to put one in Detroit, and eventually I'm going to put one in Sicily, in Taormina. We've identified a location there. Used to be an old monastery. So really, just keep in touch with it. They can Google who I am, Rosa Vitale.
Which means old monastery means it's Tartarian, which is great. It means it's a
Oh
Tartarian
yeah,
place, and they only build those on ley lines, so you're getting a powerful center. Mhm.
wow, wow.
Okay, so well, thank you so much for joining us, Rose. Thank you for being here, and thank you, my blossoming infant human beings. You mean so much to me, and I am just so thrilled to be able to spend this time with you. And please come back. I think we're going to do a part 2 for next week, if Rose has time. Do you have time, Rose? Another hour? Do you have to
I
get to
actually,
me?
after this, I have one other call with a magazine, and then after that, I can be free. Probably shouldn't last any more than 30-40 minutes if you're free.
Okay, so we won't have a part 2, but we've said plenty in this. So thank you so much for joining us. And next week, I think I'm going to talk about love, self-love, because it's such a powerful thing that's coming on for me so strong. And we're going to talk about how self-love is the best medicine. All right. And goodbye for now. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao for now.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Infinite Human Talk Show with your host, Elizabeth Monroy. We hope today's episode has inspired you to join the new consciousness renaissance and be the change by reclaiming your true divine infinite nature within and becoming an infinite human and a co-creator of the new infinite earth. Tune in next week for another empowering episode. Until then, have an infinite week.